Hey kids, it's time to figure out the correct answers to the first online homework, finding volumes and surface areas of composite figures. Here we go. Number one, we've got a square-based pyramid on top of a rectangular prism. I only have two dimensions down at the bottom, which means it is a square base. So to find the prism, you would do 8 times 12 times 12, which is 144 times 8 times 8, which is 1,152. For the pyramid, it's 1/3 the height, which is 9, times the same square base of 12 times 12. So that's going to be 3 times 144, which is 432. You would add those up and get 4, 8, that's an 8 right there, 5, and 1. So 1,584 inches cubed. Okay, number two, you've got a slightly poorly drawn rectangular prism, and then a larger one behind it. So we have the small one, which is just going to be base times height times length. So 5 times 3 times 4, and that's going to be, I see, 20 times 3, which is 60. And then the large rectangular prism is going to be 15 times 10 times 6. I know that 6 times 15 is 90, and 90 times 10 is 900. Add those up, and I get 960 meters cubed. Okay, moving right on to this strange-looking spike hemisphere on top of a cylinder on top of a cone. Now the hemisphere is 1/2 of the sphere's formula, so it's 1/2 4/3 pi times the radius cubed, and the radius here is 3, and that's cubed. That's a weird looking 3, and so that's 1/2 of 4/3 is 2/3, and that's going to be 27. And so 1/3 of 27 is 9, and that's going to be 18. I multiply it by 2, so I get 18 pi's right there. That's the hemisphere. The cylinder is going to be pi radius squared times the height. The radius squared here is 3 squared, which is 9, times the height of 10. So that's 9 times 10, so 90 pi. And then the cone is 1/3 pi radius squared times the height. And so it's really just 1/3 of 90, so it's 30. So I've got 30 plus 90, which is 120. 120 plus 18 makes 138 times pi. So just estimating here, that's like 140. So 14 times 3 is 42. So it's going to be around 420 something, probably 440. Let's see. So I've got 138 times 3.14, and I get 433.32. And that's centimeters cubed. Okay, now I have a rectangular prism that I bored a hole through. That's basically if you take a drill and drill out there, or cut it out, however you want to think about it. So I need to find the volume of the prism and then the volume of the cylinder and subtract. Volume of the prism is going to be 16 times 12 times 15. And that is 16 times 12 times 15, which is 2,880. Now let's find that cylinder. Well, it has a diameter. I don't want the diameter, I want the radius. So if the diameter is 8, half of that is 4. I'm recording. Go away for a second. So it's going to be pi times the radius, which is 4, squared, times its height, or in this terms, the length, which is 15. So that's going to be 16 times 15, and that's 240 pi. So if I multiply that on the calculator, I get 240 times 3.14, and I get 753.6. And if I just, let's use a calculator, it's a lot more fun. 2880 minus 753.6, I get 2,126.4 inches cubed. All right, that is the answer for everything on page 1. Let's get to that second page, which is all surface area. A little bit more complex. For number 5, I have the triangles of a pyramid. There's 4 of them. They're identical. I have 4 identical rectangles because it's a square base. And, of course, then I have the square base. So my 4 triangles, these are the triangles right here. It's 4 times 1/2. It is a 12 by 16 triangle. So that's really 2 times 12 times 16. So 24 times 16 is what I'm going to do my shortcut here. 24 times 16. You can put the whole thing in, of course. 384. Now let's get my 4 identical rectangles. There's 4 of them, and they are 12 by 8s. Let's see. 12 times 8 is 96. 96 times 4 is something else. 384. Whoa, that's the same as the triangles. That's crazy. All right, and then we have a square at the bottom. There's 1 of them, and it's a 12 by 12. We know 12 times 12 equals 144. We add that. There's 12. Carry it. We have 17. There's 21. Okay, looks like I got cut off there for a second. It's hard using your phone and keeping enough available storage. I have so much stuff on there. Okay, so the answer to number 5 was 912 inches squared. Okay, looking at number 6, I have a triangular prism sitting on top of a rectangular prism. Of course, the bottom of the triangular prism and the top of the rectangular prism are no longer a part of this problem because they're now on the inside. I've got this 18 feet here, which is the length from the top to the bottom. I've got 8 over here, which means the height of this is really 8 at the bottom, and up top it's 10. So I've got 2 triangles. So the 2 triangles that we have, it's going to be 2 times 1/2, cancels itself out, times 10 by 12. And that's going to equal, because that just makes 120. And then I have the slant rectangle, which is going to be 15 times 10, which is 150. 15 times 10. I have the back rectangle, which is going to be 10 by 10. And that's 100. I've got the front and the back, which is going to be 12 by 8. Front and the back of the bottom prism. So 2 times 8 by 12. 8 times 12 is 96, and 2 times 96 is 192. In my head, I just do 2 times 100 and subtract 4 twice. I've got the right and the left, which is 2 times 8 by 10. That's 80 times 2. That's 160. Then on the bottom, is 12 by 10. So that's 120. Now if I add this all up, I get 2, 7, 16, 22, 24. Carry that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 842 feet squared. Okay, 2 more to go. As I said before, can you turn that off? If you look at the rectangular prism, the top of the cylinder replaces the piece at the bottom. So we're going to basically just find all sides of the rectangular prism and then just the wraparound of the cylinder. So I've got, if you remember the triangle method I told you before, is it's 12 times 10. It's the base times the length times the height times the base. And there's 2 for each of them. So 12 times 10 is going to get me the bottom and the top. And there's 2 of them. So that's 120 times 2. That's 240. The front and the back are going to be 3 times 12. And there's 2 of them. So that's 6 times 12, which is 72. And then I've got the right and the left, which is 3 times 10 times 2, which is going to be 60. So this is all of my rectangular prism sides. The wraparound, as I showed you, I think before, the entire surface area is 2 pi's r squared plus 2 pi's r hot. Remember that these are the 2 circles. This is the wraparound. So I've got 2 times pi times the radius, which is 2, times the height, which is 8. So that's 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 32. I've got 32 times pi. The answer is going to be close to 100. Come on here. 32 times 3.14 is going to be 148. So I add these all up down here. I have 2. That's going to be 13 plus 4 is 17. That's going to be 372 plus 148. Add that all up and you get 472.48 inches squared. Okay, and the final problem we've got to work through is the tent triangular prism on top of a rectangular prism. So here we go. I've got 2 triangles in the front and back, so it's 2 times a half. That cancels out, so it's just 6 times 4. And those 2 triangles are 24. I've got the slant. Since I didn't give you the slant on the other side, you're going to assume it's the same. We hopefully talked about that before. So it's 5 times 15. So there's 2 slanty guys, and they're 5 times 15. 5 times 15 is 75. Oops, and there's 2 of them. So it's 150. Excuse me for that faux pas. 150 right there. Ew. And then now we're going to go down to the rectangular prism. Front and back are going to be 8 times 6. And there's 2 of them, so that's 48 times 2, which is 96. I've got the right and the left sides of the prism, and that's going to be 15 by 8. And there's 2 of those. 15 times 8 is 80 plus 40, so 120 times 2, which is 240. And now we just have the bottom, which is 6 by 15. And 6 times 15 is 90. Now if I add all this all up, I get 10 right there. Carry the 1, that's going to be 8. When I add it with the 5, 6, 7, 8, that's going to be 17, 21, 30. Here's my 3, 4, 5, 6, 600 meters squared. All right, and that concludes that video.